Hello everyone, welcome to KRD Training Solutions and myself Mohan. At this session we are going to discuss some of the mathematical ability and cryptarithmetic problems of Infosys, and I have included the previous session link in description. If you haven't watched, please have a look at it. Now first question, A and B start together from the same point on a circular track and walk in the same direction till they both again arrive together at the starting point. A completes one circle in 224 seconds and B in 364 seconds. How many times will A have passed B? Okay, so this question is based on LCM because here you have two people A and B. So they are running in a circular track. So assume this is the circular track. So here we have A and here you have B. So both of them are running in the circular track and A will cover the circular track in 224 seconds. Whereas B will complete one circle in 364 seconds. Now first we have to find after how many seconds they will once again meet at the starting point. So the answer lies in multiple of 224 and 364, right? So take LCM of 224 and 364. I have already calculated. So LCM of 224 and 364 is 2912. So after 2912 seconds, once again both of them will meet at the particular point, that is at the starting point. Now A completes one circle in 224 seconds. So if A completes one circle in 224 seconds, so in 2912 seconds A will complete how many circles? So 2912 upon 224. So we get 13 laps. So A will have completed 13 laps in this 2912 seconds. If you take B, so B will complete how many laps in this 2112 seconds? I mean 2912 seconds. So 2912 divided by 364. So while solving, you will get the answer equivalent to 8 laps. So B will complete 8 laps in the same 2912 seconds. So by 2912 seconds, both of them are meeting at the starting point. Now our question is how many times will A have passed B? So A completed 13 laps and B completed 8 laps. So since both of them are moving in the same direction, subtract the laps. So 13 minus 8. So A have passed B for 13 minus 8 5 times. But if you choose the answer 5, then your answer goes wrong, because at this time both A and B will be together, right? At 5th lap both A and B will be together. So you should not consider the 5th lap. So answer is 5 minus 1, 4 laps. So A have passed B for 4 times. So answer is 4 times. Now question number 2. A cylindrical jar of diameter 24 cm contains water to a height of 20 cm. Okay, now first we finish the first statement. So you have a cylindrical jar of the diameter 24 cm. So if the diameter is 24 cm, then the radius of this jar will be 12 cm and it have water of height 20 cm. This is 20 cm. A spherical steel ball is dropped in the jar and level of water rises by 67.5 millimeter. Find the diameter of the ball. Now you are dropping a spherical steel ball in the jar. Now the water level rises to 67.5 millimeter. Now you know 10 millimeter is 1 centimeter. So 67.5 millimeter is 6.75 centimeter. Now we already know the level of water rise. Okay, the water level rises because of the volume of the object that you have put in the cylindrical jar, right? So the water level rise will be equivalent to volume of the material that you put in the water. So here you can say the volume, right? So the volume of water level rise is equivalent to pi r square h, since it is in the shape of cylinder, right? So which is in the shape of cylinder. With this you can easily find volume of the spherical ball. So pi value, okay, you can keep pi value as it is. So here the radius is 12 centimeter, right? So pi into 12 into 12 into, now instead of height you have to mark it as 6.75 only. You don't need to worry about 20 centimeter because water level rose only by 6.75 centimeter, right? So into 6.75 centimeter. So pi into 12 into 12 into 6.75 centimeter is nothing but, you know, the volume of the spherical steel ball, right? So what is the volume of a sphere, which is equivalent to 4 by 3 pi r cube, right? So you can equate this equivalent to 4 by 3 pi r cube. So with this you can easily find radius, right? So pi cancel and again 4 and this for 3 times, right? So here you will get r cube equal to 12 into 3 into 6.75. So while solving you get r cube equal to 729. So if r cube is 729, what is r? R is nothing but radius of the spherical ball. So radius of the spherical ball is 9, because 9 cube you get 729. So if radius is 9, what exactly you have to find is diameter of the ball. So diameter of the sphere is 2 times the radius. So 2 times 9 you get 18 centimeter. So diameter of the spherical ball is 18 centimeter, and this becomes your answer. So what we are doing here? So we are equating the water level rise equivalent to the volume of the sphere. So when you do that, you can easily find out the diameter of the spherical ball using the formula 4 by 3 pi r cube. Now question number 3. A group of 630 children is arranged in rows for a group photograph session. Each row contains 3 fewer children than the row in front of it. What number of rows is not possible? So totally we have 630 children. Now our condition is each rows contain 3 fewer children than the rows in front of it, right? So you have to subtract 3 children in each row. For example, if you keep 10 children in first row, in second row we will have how many children? 10 minus 3, 7 children. In third row again 7 minus 3, we should have 4 children. So in this way you have to arrange 630 children. Now what number of rows is not possible? So here you have 4 options. So in these 4 options, which row is not possible? For example, if you take option A. So in option A, if you take, you totally have 4 rows, right? If you take, you totally have 4 rows. If you take, you totally have 4 rows. Yes. In first row, you will have x number of students. In second row, x minus 3 number of students. In third row, you will have x minus 6 number of students, and in fourth row you will have x minus number of students, x minus 9 number of students, and totally equivalent to 630 students. So when you equate it, you get 4x minus 18 equal to 630. So which is equivalent to 4x equal to 630 plus 18, you get 648. So x equal to 162. So 4 rows is possible, right? Because which is perfectly divisible. So x equal to 162. So in first row if you have 162 people, in second row you will have 159 people, in third row you will have 156 people. So in this way you can arrange the 630 people. Now as per the option, right? So if you take option number C, 6, for an example, if you take we totally have 6 rows. Let us check whether it is possible or not. So if you take totally you have 6 rows. So in first row you have x number of candidates. In second row it is x minus 3 number of candidates. In third row it is x minus 6 number of candidates. In fourth row x minus 9. In fifth row it is x minus 12. And in sixth row it is x minus 15 number of candidates. Together it is equivalent to 630 students. Now simplify it, you get 6x minus 45 equivalent to 630. So you can say 6x equal to 630 plus 45, you get 675. So x equal to 675 by 6. Is it perfectly divisible? No. So x is not an integer at all. So here you cannot arrange the 630 people as per in the given condition as 6 rows. So answer for this question is 6 rows. So 6 number of rows is not possible. So apart from this 6 number of rows, if you take 4, 5 and 3, so all the options will work. So answer lies in working with the option. Now moving to question number 4. A certain number of trucks were required to transport 60 tons of steel wire from Tisco factory in Jamshedpur. However, it was found that since each truck could take 0.5 tons of cargo less, another 4 trucks were needed. How many trucks were initially planned to be used? So we have 60 tons of load to be carried, and we don't know how many trucks we initially planned, but since each truck is carrying only 0.5 tons of cargo lesser, we are taking 4 more trucks extra. Now we have to find how many trucks we initially planned. Now you can take, initially we planned T number of trucks. So initially we planned T number of trucks, and initially the trucks could carry X number of tons, right? So X number of tons. So each truck could carry X number of tons. So in this way, T number of trucks will carry X number of tons per truck. So totally it will carry 60 tons. Right. So T is the initial number of trucks planned and X is the number of tons the truck will carry, right? So number of tons per truck. So totally T number of trucks will carry X number of tons per truck and totally it will carry 60 tons. But they later identified this truck will carry 0.5 tons lesser, right? So it is X minus 0.5 tons lesser. And now we are increasing 4 more trucks. So it is T plus 4. Now again we are carrying 60 tons. So you can take it as first equation and you can take this one as second equation. Right. Now try to solve it. So while solving, how much we get? So it is Tx plus 4x minus 0.5t minus 2 equivalent to 60. So if you simplify second equation, you will get like this. Right. Okay, now the 60 and 60 both are equal, so you can equate it to Tx. So instead of 60 you can substitute Tx, right? So you can write Tx equivalent to Tx plus 4x minus 0.5t minus 2. Now this Tx cancel, so you are left with 0.5t minus, instead of x you can write it as x equal to 60 by t, right? So it is 60 by t. 60 by t plus 2 equal to 0. So just we are changing the signs, right? Now when you cross this t to left hand side and right hand side, you get 0.5 t square minus 240 plus 2t equivalent to 0. And you can divide the entire thing by 0.5. So you get t square plus 4t minus 480 equivalent to 0. Now when you simplify it, you get minus 480, while adding you have to get plus 4. So it is minus 20 plus 24. So the value of t is equivalent to 20. So you have to take only the positive value, right? So the value of t is equivalent to 20. So what we have to find exactly is the total number of trucks that we have initially planned. So total number of trucks that we initially planned is 20 trucks. Because each truck carries 0.5 tons lesser, now we are utilizing 20 plus 4, 24 trucks. So answer for this question is 20. Hope you understood the problem. Now moving to question number 5. Now find the value of I. So SEE into SO, you get MIMEO. Now you have to find the value of I. See, when you know the property of numbers, solving problems on crypt arithmetic is really simple. So here, what is the structure followed here? So what is the quality of the number followed here for multiplying? So if you take the O, right? So when you take O and multiply with E and E, you are getting same O and O. Then what could be the value of E? It is so simple. If you take 1 into 2, what you get? 2. If you take 1 into 5, what do you get? You get 5. So when you multiply 1 with any number, you will get the same number as the resultant number. So here you are multiplying E with O, you are getting O. So definitely value of E will be equivalent to 1, right? So value of E is 1. So you can substitute value of E equivalent to 1 in all the variables. And next thing, now see, and the next structure, so if you look at the second row, right? So if you look at the second row, S into S, you are getting 1 in the tens place. By multiplying which number for 2 times, you will get ones in second place. For example, 3 into 3, you get 9. So it's a single digit number, we don't need to worry. 4 into 4, you get 16. No, you are not getting 1 at the second place. That is, you are getting only 6. So 5 into 5, 25. 6 into 6, 36. 7 into 7, 49. 8 into 8, 64. 9 into 9, 81. So you are getting 1 at the ones place, that is unit place. So obviously the value of S will be equivalent to 9. Right? Now it's simple. So 9 into 9, you get 81. So value of M will be 8. So here also you have 8, right? So you substitute value of M as 8 here. Now by multiplying which number with 9, you will get 18. So definitely it will be 2, right? So substitute 2 instead of O. So 2 into 9 you get 18. So 2 into 1 the value of O is 2 and 2 into 1 the value of 2 is O. So again value of S is 9 here and value of S is 9 here. So with this you can easily crack the variable. So 2 plus 9 11. So carry you have 1. So 9 plus 8 17. 17 plus 1 you get 18. So again the value of M is 8. So carry again you have a 1. So 1 plus 1 plus 1 you get 3. Now the value of I is equivalent to 3. So answer for this question is value of I is equivalent to 3. So the problem is so simple, right? So when you understand the quality of the numbers, solving problems on crypt arithmetic is really simple. Now moving to next problem. Question number 6. A 2-digit number exceeds by 19 the sum of squares of its digits and by 44 the double product of its digits. Find the number. So you have a 2-digit number, right? Now how you can write the 2-digit number? So you can write the 2-digit number as 10x plus y, right? Because if I ask you how many number of tens in 74, you will say 7 number of tens, and how many number of ones in 74, you will say 4 number of ones. So 4 ones plus 7 tens equivalent to 74. Similarly here you don't know how many number of tens are there, so you are taking it as x number of tens plus how many number of ones we have, y number of ones, right? So 10x plus y, and it exceeds by 19 when the sum of square of its digits, so that is x square plus y square, and this number exceeds by 44 double time the product of its digits, so that is 10x plus y minus 44 equivalent to 2 times xy. Now you totally have 2 equations, right? So try to equate it, you will get the answer. So you can write 10x plus y minus 19 equal to x square plus y square as 10x plus y equivalent to x square plus y square plus 19, right? So you can rewrite it. So when you rewrite it, x square plus y square plus 19, and this is equivalent to 10x plus y equal to 2xy plus 44, right? So equivalent to 2xy plus 44, because 10x plus y both are same, right? Now try to bring variables to one side and values to another side. So if you bring the variable to left hand side, you get x square plus y square minus 2xy equivalent to 44 minus 19, you get 25. Now if you look at this, this is in the format of x minus y the whole square. So x minus y the whole square equivalent to 25. So what is the value of x minus y? Value of x minus y is equivalent to 5. That means the difference between 2 digits, right? So the difference between first digit and second digit is equivalent to 5. So we don't need to work further. Now look at the options. So if you look at the first option, 7 minus 2 is 5, right? So here the condition satisfied. So if you take 72 as answer, the difference between first digit and second digit is equivalent to 5. But if you take option B, 6 minus 2 you get 4. Option C, 2 minus 2 you get 0. Option D, 1 minus 2 you get minus 1. So definitely answer for this question should be 72. Now question number 7. Yes, little big question. A bank issued credit card numbers and the corresponding PIN numbers. Both are 3-digit numbers up to 996. Pinky was the last to get the card, and so she had the last possible credit card number. She was afraid of forgetting her PIN. She wrote down the number 123 in her diary to remember her PIN. She also wrote out the way to calculate 123. Multiply the card number by PIN, divide the product by 997, the remainder will be equivalent to 123. Once Praful saw her diary in which Pinky wrote this number 123. Praful did a lot of purchasing as he now know Pinky's PIN number. What is Pinky's PIN? So the question is big, but actually the concept is simple. Now Pinky got a PIN number as well as a credit card. So the card number is definitely 996 because she got only last possible credit card number. So here the number is up to 996, right? So her credit card number is 996. Now to remember the PIN number, she wrote 123 in the diary. Now when Pinky multiply this 123 with 996 and divide it by 997, she will get 123 as remainder. So with this you have to find Pinky's PIN number. Now the answer lies in remainder theorem, right? So multiply this 123 with 996. I mean multiply this pin number with 996, because in question it is given multiply the card number by pin. Since we don't know what is the pin number, we are taking it as P, right? So multiply this 996 card number with P and divide it by 997. You will get the remainder equivalent to 123. So the remainder is equivalent to 123. Now you can try this 996 as 997 minus 1. 997 minus 1 into P divided by 997, and you get the remainder equivalent to 123. Now we have to work with it. So when you multiply this 997 with pin number, you get 997 times the pin number minus pin number upon 997, where you will get the remainder equivalent to 123. Now definitely this 997 times the pin number will be cancelled by 997, because this pin number is the multiple of 997 now. So you don't need to worry about this. Now you have the pin number which is lesser than 997. That's the reason you are getting a positive remainder 123. Now you have to find this negative remainder, so which is nothing but the pin number, right? So whenever you divide a number by a divisor, you will get two type of remainder. For example, if I ask you divide the number 3 by 4, since it is the lesser number, so you will say the remainder is equivalent to 3, but you will also write the remainder as negative. How? So 4 divided by 3, I mean 3 divided by 4, 3 divided by 4. So you can write 1 time 4. So 3 minus 4, you get the negative remainder equivalent to minus 1, right? So you can write it as remainder is equivalent to minus 1. So you get two types of remainder. Now you have to find the negative remainder. Now with the positive remainder, you can find negative remainder. How? 3 minus 4, you get negative remainder minus 1. And if you want to find the positive remainder, how you can find? See, again you are dividing 3 by 4 only, right? So 4 minus 1, you will get the positive remainder. So here you have to find the negative remainder. So how? 997 minus 123. So 997 minus 123, you get 874. So 874 is nothing but the pin number here. So answer lies in deriving the remainder theorem. So answer for this question is 874. So Pinky's pin number here is 874. So we are trying to convert the positive remainder to negative remainder. So if you do that, then you will get the answer 874. So this is obviously going to be the pin number of Pinky. So the question is little big, but the process is really simple. Now question number 8. A company offers total 150 pens to its customers. As per the scheme, 1 pen will be offered on the purchase of a quantitative aptitude book. Out of 150 pens, the cost of some pen is rupees 3 and the cost of rest pens is rupees 5. Maximum how many customers can avail a pen of rupees 5 as an offer from the company if the total cost of pen cannot exceed by 745. So we totally have two different kinds of pen. The cost price of first pen is rupees 3 and the cost price of second pen is rupees 5. And we totally have 150 pens. We don't know how many pens of each type we have, but we have to sell more 5 rupees pens. So we have to sell maximum 5 rupees pen so that it should not exceed 745. Now definitely we have to go by hit and error method only, trial and error method only. Now if you take this 3 rupees pen, right? So the maximum number of pens should be 5 rupees pens, right? Now out of 150 pens, if you take 149 pens, that is belongs to rupees 5. So 149 into 5, you get how much? 745 rupees. And we have 3 rupees pen, right? So out of 150 pens, now you took 149 pens as 5 rupees pen. So remaining you have 1 pen, right? So you can take the remaining 1 pen as 3 rupee pen. So 1 into 3, 3 rupees. So 3 plus 745, you get 748. But the price of pens should not exceed 745. So this assumption is wrong. So you can go with the next assumption, which is 148. So you can take, you are totally selling 148 5 rupees pens. So the cost price will be 740, right? So the selling price will be 740. Now out of 150, you sold 148 5 rupees pen. So remaining you have 2 pens of 3 rupees type. So 2 into 3, it is 6 rupees. Now 6 plus 740, you get 746. So again it is exceeding by 745. So this assumption is also wrong. So you can take the third assumption, 147 5 rupee pence. So 147 into 5, you get 735, and remaining 3 pence are of 3 rupees type. So 3 into 3, you get 9. So 9 plus 735, you get 744, right? Now this is definitely lesser than 745. Our question is, maximum how many customers can avail a pen of rupees 5? So the maximum customers can avail 147 5 rupee pens. So answer for this question is option D, none of this, because answer is 147, right? So answer is none of the above. Hope you understood the problem. Now moving to question number 9. Find the value of P, where ABW into BPA, you get WPH WBF. Now if you closely look at the relationship between variables, by looking the third row, you can easily come to a conclusion. So definitely this number is the multiple of 11, because only multiple of 11 gives the difference between the odd digits, sum of odd digits and sum of even digits equivalent to 0. For example, if you take 1331, so 1331, so if you take the sum of odd digits and sum of even digits, so what is the difference? So the difference is equivalent to 0, right? So definitely this number is going to be the multiple of 11. So by multiplying which row with which number, you will get WWHH. So if you multiply this B with A, B and W, you will get WWHH, right? Okay, now what is the quality of the multiple of 11? So the quality of multiple of 11 is, for example, here you have a 3-digit number. So when you multiply a 3-digit number with one number, you are getting WWHH. So you have, okay, let us erase this and let's make little zoom. Okay, now if you multiply 121 into 2, right, you get 242. So you can take this one as A and this one as B and this one as W, but here A and W both are equal, right? So all three should be different. So you have to go with only hit and error method, right? So you have to consider all the multiple of 11. For example, so you have A, B, W into W, right? So A, B, W into B, right? So A, B, W into B, you get WWHH. Now A, B, W, all the three numbers should be different. So you have to go with only trial and error method. So if you take A as 1 and B as 3 and W as 2, so 132 into 3. So 3 into 2 you get 6. 3 into 3 you get 9. So here last two digits are different, but what you have to get, last two digit number to be same. Then only you get WWHH as two numbers only, because here you will get 4 different numbers, right? I mean here you get 132 into 3, 396. You get only 3-digit number, but you have to get a 4-digit number, right? So this one is also not possible. So in this way you have to use all the trial and error possible. So next you can take 143 into 4, because B into B, right? So B into B. So 4 into 4. So 4 into 3 12, 4 into 4 16, 16 plus 1 72. So you get two different numbers. So 143 is also not possible. So next we are checking with 176 into 7. So this one is also not possible. So next 187 into 8. So this one is also not possible. So 198 into 8. So 8 into 8 64, remainder 6, 8 into 9 72, 72 plus 6 you get 8. So again 84, last two digits are different. So this one is also not possible. Now we checked all the numbers that is starting with 1. So next you have to enter into the series that is starting with 2. Now just erase this. Now again go with the hit and error method of the number starting with 2. So 231 into 3, right? So you will get only 96 as last digit. Next 242, you can't consider this number because you have to multiply three different digit numbers with the second number, right? So here first digit and last digit are same. You have to get the numbers in the format of A, B, W. Here A and W should not be same, so you can't take 242. Next you can take 253 into 5. right? So 3 into 5 15, 5 into 5 26, 25, 25 plus 1 26, so 65. So this is not possible. So next 275 into 7, so this is also not possible. Next 286 into 8, so this one is also not possible. Next 297 into 9, so here also you get 7 into 9 63, remainder 6, and it's 73. So again you are not getting the specified outcome. So now you check with the number starting with 2. Next you have to go with the number starting with 3, right? So let's start with 341. So 341 into 4, 4 into 4 16, 64, no, not possible. So next 352. So in 352 also it's not possible, because 352 into 5, 2 into 5 10, 1 60. So this is not possible, right? So next we have to go with 374. So 374 into 7 is also not possible. Next 385 into 8. So this one will also not give the result, right? So next if you take 396 into 6, so this one will also not give. If you go with trial and error method, you will get the answer in the number starting with 4. So if you take 451 into 5 into 5 25, 2, 5 into 4 20, you get double 2 double 5. But wait, if you substitute this value here, so instead of A if you substitute 4, and instead of B if you substitute 5, and W for 1 and B for 5, you get 5 into 1 5. But here the value is fixed for B only, the value 5 is fixed only for B. You can't fix the value of 5 for H, because one variable will have only one value. So this assumption is also wrong. So you have to take the next assumption. So what is the next assumption? It is 473. Now if you take 473 into 7, right, 473 into 7, definitely you will get 7 into 3 21, remainder 2, 7 into 7 49 plus 2 you get 51, 5, 7 into 4 28, 28 plus 5 you get 33. So you get 3311. So this one is possible because you have all the variables with unique values, right? Now instead of W you have to substitute 3, and instead of H you have to substitute 1. So substitute 3 wherever you have W and wherever you have 1. Yes, so here you have 4, right? So 4 into 3 you get 12. So you get this row as 2, and it's 9, you get 18. So value of X you found, it is 8, right? So substitute 8 instead of X. See, 9 plus 8 you get 17. So the value of B is 7, and you have a carry 1 here. So 8 plus 3 plus 1 plus 1 you get 13. So carry is 1 here. Next 8 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 it is 11. So carry 1 here. Next you have to find the value of P. So how we can find the value of P? Already we found the value of X equivalent to 2, right? So substitute value of X of 2. So 2 plus 3 plus 1 you get 6. So the value of P is equivalent to 6. Now you found the value of P is equivalent to 6. See, the process is really simple until you are finding the perfect multiple of 11 that will satisfy this condition. Until that it's difficult only, right? So you have to go with only hit and error method only. So it will consume a lot of time. So for that you have to be more thorough with the quality of the numbers. So which is multiple of 11 here. Now next, question number 10. Find the value of J. Find the value of J. Okay. Now here if you take B. So B into E you get E. B into J you get J. Then what is definitely value of B? Value of B is 1, right? So 1 into E you get E, 1 into J you get J, B into 1 into E you get E, 1 into J you get J, and here you have the value of A, right? So you get a new variable, but you don't need to worry about that. E plus A you get E, so the value of A is definitely 0, right? Okay, now what could be the maximum carry that you will get from this J to this place? You will get the carry 1, so value of B is definitely 1. Now when you add J plus E you are getting D, and you get a maximum carry. So when you so if you have J here also you have to get J. So whenever you get a carry 1 here, then when you add with 9 you will get 10 here. and the carry is 1 sitting as B here. So here the value of j is equivalent to 9 only, right? Because whenever you get maximum 1 digit number for 2 times, the maximum carry that you will get is only 1. That is 9 plus 9, 18. So the maximum carry that you will get is 1. So answer for B is 1, and the value of j will be definitely 9. Then only you will get a carry to the next place, that is thousands place. So value of j is equivalent to 9. Right? Okay, now hope you understood all the problems related to mathematical ability and cryptarithmetic and Infosys. In upcoming session, I will try to add some more problem related to it. So if you follow some other different shortcuts on the problems that we have discussed now, please put it in comment section below. Now thanks a lot for watching. Have a nice day and share the video to your friends.